Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear viewers, today we have the opportunity to ask Sadar Ansarullah Netherlands some questions about contemporary issues. First of all, Sadar Sahib, I would like to ask you about the initiative which has been taken on the Guest House Fund within Ansarullah Netherlands.
So, Alhamdulillah, a couple of years ago, we proposed to Majlis Shura, and also Hazur Aqdar Sayyid Talib Aziz graciously granted us approval to start the work for looking for and collecting funds for a guest house. I think first of all, that is the process that exists within the Jamaat and also within Majlis Ansarullah. But for us it is also a case of there should be some background to why these things are done, and I think it's important for us to understand these things as well. So Alhamdulillah, as our Tajneed has grown, as our Jamaat has grown, so have both our responsibilities and also the number of people and also the scope of our activities as well. And that requires a place to have an office, that requires a place to have a sort of storage, and maybe also have a guest house where our guests can stay as well. Now, this is something that all Jamaats do. I've had in previous roles also had the opportunity to, Alhamdulillah, build guest houses for Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, a guest house for Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya. And I think it brings a certain level of pride, humility first of all, but pride in the Majlis, and also takes the Majlis to a newer level. So it is not just a house or a storage facility or a place for guests to stay. It indicates that the Majlis, Alhamdulillah, has matured, has grown, has flowered, has blossomed into a much bigger Majlis than what it was before. And it is also a place for members of Majlis Ansarullah to meet everyone and to get together as well. So we are looking at something that is a place where we can all come together. Of course, mosques are the place for that, but it is a place where we are also looking for to have our office where everyone within the Randstad can get together and also increase our activities. Because you would have all noticed that the Jamaat is increasing, the Majlis, our members have increased, and inshallah we will keep on increasing. So for the future, we have to do these things.
If you look at the current situation, and you mentioned that we are growing as a community, so we have the opportunity to start with this scheme. And as you know, there are also several other schemes within the Jamaat, like Mosque Fund, to also contribute to the local Jamaats, to have a place for prayers, but also together. So wouldn't that be a distraction to those schemes?
Of course, so not at all. I don't believe. I've experienced it myself, and I think it actually is a nice addition to the existing sacrifices that we already do. So I think we need to put this into perspective as well. In every country, not just in the Netherlands, and I always say this, I remember that in the UK, early 90s, such a large Jamaat, especially nowadays, such a large Majlis in terms of Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya at that time, and also Majlis Ansarullah. The Khalifa Waqf was based in London Mosque as well. And one of the things that I remember is that Mirza, at that time, Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya used to share a porter cabin. And this is like a container with windows. This is all it is. And there was a desk for Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, for General Secretary, for Amir Sahib. And that's in London Mosque because everything else was used for all the other functions of the Jamaat. And that's where we grew from. This is early 90s. And I always give that example because from there grew offices, increased offices for Majlis Qudam Ahmadiyya, Majlis Ansarullah, now mashallah opposite the guest house, a big place in Farnham now near Islamabad. And we should be looking at it, and mosques didn't stop. The same in Germany, same in France, same in Canada, the same in USA. So why should we be behind? You see, it is a sign of our financial sacrifice and a sign of our maturity as an organization. And ultimately, we should never have this idea as an administration that people will not contribute. I think this is a lapse, and Hazur Akhdar Sayyid al-Misr Aziz and Khulafa have reminded us continuously about this, that if you approach people and request them to contribute, then they will contribute. You just have to explain why we are doing this, what is the reason behind it, and how we need to go about it. So it doesn't detract from that, not at all. It is the same discussion, you could say, why build another mosque? Because the functions are different, but the background is exactly the same, because you are requesting sacrifice from a selected pool of people. Now that could be 2,000 here in the Netherlands for the Jamaat, or 300 Ansar. It could be 10,000 in the UK, for example. But then they are building 5 times more. So I wouldn't say the pressure, but the opportunity to participate in the financial sacrifice is so much more if you are able to go about it and build upon the existing things that are happening.
And if you look at the practical side of the gathering of funds for this guest house, could you share some experiences, some guidelines for our brothers to participate, but also try to get it really practical in day-to-day life?
So I would like to approach this from 2 sides. First of all, to the administration, especially Zoma, Majlis Amla, because the Zoma at the forefront, and then I will approach the Ansar members, my brothers, separately. So for Majlis Amla members and Zoma especially, it is important, as I said previously, that you must not only inform, but motivate members as well. So one is, nowadays it's very easy just to send a WhatsApp message, but you need to actively promote the collection of funds for a guest house. And also explain, and this is why we are here today as well, to explain why we would like to build a guest house as well, and why it will increase, inshallah, the activities of our Majlis as well. Remember, it is not just for us, but for our future generations. So first of all, it is very important that the Majlis Amla and Zoma need to be very clear in what we are trying to do. And then that filters down to our dear brothers, Ansar, on the ground in terms of within each Majlis. Now we are a small Majlis, and we have tried to do this over the course of 3 to 5 years. So a couple of years have already passed. Now we are really ramping up for this year to collect as many promises as possible. So my first request is that, first of all, have the comfort that Allah will inshallah enable you to make this sacrifice. So this is very important, that you must have take that step into making a certain promise towards the guest house and contributing towards it. The other important thing is, and this is good budgeting, the other important thing is that we have staggered it across the life, as in for the whole period of a guest house. So it's not that every year we want to ask promises. We want to say, well, let's assume the guest house may cost, we are targeting 400,000 at the moment, inshallah. Let's say that we are doing it over another 3 to 5 years again. So we are looking at about, I did the sums, we are looking at about approximately, for every Nasir, 150 euros a year for next 5 years. So when you think of this in the bigger scheme of things, there are many Ansar members who are, alhamdulillah, well settled. There are many Ansar members who have been here for a long time. And 150 euros split into 12 months is about less than 15 euros a month. Now, then again, there are brothers who have arrived recently and may find it difficult to contribute. But I have noticed that if you explain what we are trying to do, in fact, the most increased promises have come from those who have recently arrived in the Netherlands. So again, it is not the ability, or rather the extent of personal sacrifice. It is just about ensuring that the message is passed to everyone. And of course, you need to budget for these things as well. But when I say budget, I mean not in terms of, if you budget for everything else and then say I will contribute something to the mosque or to the guest house in this case, then you will never find the budget. So the word in itself is sacrifice, when you say financial sacrifice. So you are cutting something, maybe a holiday, maybe a vacation, maybe not buying something else. It is a sacrifice. But as we all know, and I think no one can doubt this, that whatever sacrifice you make, Allah does return it multifold, and we see it day in, day out in our experience as well.
Can you also share if there are already ideas about locations or areas where the guest house should come?
Yes, of course. So Hazur Akhdar Sayyid Talab Aziz in the Mulaqat of our Majlis Amla and Zoma in 2019, when Hazur came here for Jalsa and graciously approved a Mulaqat, Hazur also asked about this, and our hope is, and I would like all our brothers to pray for this, it's very important also that we first of all start with prayers when we do this campaign. Our hope is that we build it within the Randstad. Now, for those that might not know, you can think of it as a triangle from Den Haag, The Hague, to Amsterdam to Utrecht. The reason is, even though we have Nunspeet and Almere is sort of in the catchment area, is that that is where the majority of the Ansar are. As I said, we would like to have it where our Ansar brothers, if they wish to, if they are close enough, can also conduct meetings, can meet up over there. We can, if it's large enough with a garden or something, have some events there. So we are looking at a number of possibilities. We are not looking for a religious permission or a mosque, but we are looking for a place that has sufficient space, because for mosques you need special permission, where, for example, we might look at some office space, because it is an office, and where you have an area where you can have maybe, events or a small barbecue, or some team sports or something, or have a table tennis table or something. But those are the skills we are looking for. So I would request everyone to pray as well that whatever is best, inshallah, because I want Ansar to benefit and utilize the guest house. It is not a structure where you just build it and store things in it. I wanted all of us to be proud in what we have built for us and our future generations as well.